get my melody. Running, fuck the slow-mo.
Hey guys, Brett here, connecting from UbiCentral, and I just got back from my trip to Ubisoft Montreal where I got hands-on time with Watch Dogs 2. So as promised, I said I would try my best to make a gameplay impressions video, and here it is. Also, it is worth noting that I signed an NDA, so I obviously can't talk about everything, and what I can talk about, I'm very limited to. But with that said, let's get started. The driving. Okay, so one of the biggest issues with the first game, at least for me, was the driving. The car handling sucked, and overall it was very cartoony, with most cars feeling relatively similar. However, the developers and other content creators did say that the driving has been improved for the sequel, and I can honestly confirm that is true. The driving is way better than the first game when it comes to the handling, collision, and just overall textures. Now, I will say this, a lot of the community members at the event actually liked the driving from the first game and still found Watch Dogs 2 to be better. So yeah, I can't stress this enough, the driving was definitely improved even if you liked or disliked the first game's driving. And if I had to compare it to another game, I would say it's a mix between GTA 5 and the first Watch Dogs, which does make sense for why everyone likes it. Also, I've seen some comments about this, but yes, you can drive the cars in different views, like first person and things like that. Moving on to the hacking, as you all probably already know, we have way more options than the first game, such as flying a drone, using an RC jumper, locking or opening doors, controlling other vehicles, calling the police or a gang on somebody, controlling traffic lights, steam pipes, setting a proximity on all of those. There is so much new stuff as well as old stuff, and all of it is for the better. I have to say the one I had the most fun with is just calling the cops on somebody because they have no idea what's happening. For example, somebody's walking their dog on the beach and their attitude is happy, and let's just say their job is being a doctor because why not? So what you can do is pull up the profiler and forge evidence against that person. So let's just say we tell the police that he escaped from prison. The police will actually go and try to arrest said person. And depending on the NPC's mood, they can react differently. So somebody can accept the arrest, run away, or even pull out a gun, which definitely makes the NPCs and the world feel more alive than the first game. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but ambulances didn't really respond to deaths or injuries in the first game, but if you do kill or injure a civilian, I want to say, they will respond and check out the scene. As far as San Francisco goes, it's definitely much bigger than the first game, and just overall the tone and the lighting makes it much more happier, which is great because it definitely matches with the tone of Marcus and his attitude, and it just makes the city a lot more pleasant to be in. You'll even notice during the night, it's just a lot more pleasant, and I feel like it rains a lot less compared to the first game, but don't worry, it still does rain. One thing I have to mention is how unique each location is from one another. You have Silicon Valley, which has all these tech-based companies and is a lot more businessy, and then there's Oakland, which is lower class. And in these different areas, the buildings are different, but also the NPC's clothing, which again makes the city feel real and authentic. Speaking of clothing, there is a lot of different clothing shops which all offer unique styles. I can't really give you an exact number of how many items there is, but trust me when I say you definitely have a lot more options when it comes to customization, which is amazing because character customization is a really major part of any open world game. Parkour has also been improved, and you don't feel as restricted as you do in the first game. You can actually jump from building to building depending on how much space there is, and you'll also notice that a lot more animations have been added, and overall it feels a lot smoother than the first game. Also, before I forget, I had to point out how real the guns feel and the sounds of them. It's just super authentic, and I found myself actually switching between different weapons based on the situation. I remember in my first playthrough on Watch Dogs, I only really used Aiden's pistol, but this time I wanted to use more guns. But yeah, the last thing I want to touch on is the cops. Police chases with them, at least from what I played, were pretty intense after getting a couple stars. And also the police chopper is returning, and they finally added police boats, so you can't just escape from going in the water. It's actually even harder to kill them while you're in a boat, so I recommend just using a car unless you really want a challenge. And of course you can also escape on foot, but they do have police dogs, which is just fucking awesome. Anyways, those were all the positive things I have to say about the game. Honestly, it's been improved in almost every aspect, and I'm not just saying that, I really do mean it. I feel like I barely even touched the surface of this game because there's so much to do and the map is just massive. The only issue I really had was getting used to some of the controls, and I feel like that's mainly because I'm so used to the first game and how that played. I've honestly tried to think of other issues and there's nothing that's coming to mind. The game was way better than I expected, and I honestly just fell in love with Marcus and San Francisco right away. So those were my general impressions of the game. Again, I can't say more right now because of the NDA I signed, but when I can talk about more things, I'll be sure to make a video. Anyways, I should have a 75,000 subscriber video up sometime this week where I'm going to be showing off my setup and giving away some Watch Dogs 2 limited edition posters, so be on the lookout for that. And if you missed it, yesterday I posted a vlog where I went to Ubisoft Montreal, and honestly you should definitely check it out because it's just awesome. As always though, to stay up to date on everything Watch Dogs, make sure to subscribe right here on UbiCentral.